Hey, what's going on YouTube, and welcome back to another video. Now today we're going to be working on my 1997 Honda Civic Hatchback. And if you haven't seen the previous video on this car, I'd really recommend checking it out, and I'll make sure to leave a link above. So I actually bought this car from a vehicle auction with no key, and it was also a biohazard due to the fact that the passenger side window was left open and all the elements came inside to it. It was so bad to the point that there was mold growing on the steering wheel. I got very lucky with this one that it fired right up and the car runs great. But ever since then, I've been making it a goal of mine to bring this car back up to its glory days and making it 100% stock for now with maybe a little bit of an OEM plus touch. Now, where we left off with this car is I actually went to the junkyard and I was able to replace the idler pulley because it was making a terrible noise. That doesn't sound very good. But now the car has developed a couple more issues that I'm gonna have to troubleshoot today. One being the most annoying is the fact that the car now has started to idle very low. For whatever reason, if you go off of the highway and you put the car in neutral, it has a very, very difficult time keeping it idle. It keeps it at about like 500 RPMs, and the whole car is shaking and it feels like you're in a loose shopping cart. The first thing that comes to mind for me is maybe something to do with the idle air control valve. Very common issue on these Hondas, but typically when they get gummed up with carbon deposit, you'll see that the revs will go up and down and it'll kind of like hum. But in this case, the car just completely dies at the light, and then I have to turn it back on and then go. And then also on top of that, the exhaust manifold has a terrible crack in it. And it's not even a crack at this point, let's be honest. It's a huge gaping hole. So what I'm actually going to do today is I'm going to remove the entire exhaust manifold, take it to my friend, and see if he can weld this and remedy this temporarily. Now, the whole reason I wasn't able to replace this header with another one from a junkyard is because they welded the cat onto this one. Due to the fact that catalytic converters nowadays are very expensive, I think it would be better off to just try this as a temporary remedy, and if it doesn't work, then I can go out and replace it completely. I mean, just look at how bad this is. I haven't seen something this bad in a long time. And I hope it helps too that the car is a little warm. Might expedite the process a little bit for us. Oh my God. They welded on there? Ow! God. It's a knuckle basher. No, I just watched it turn.
No, I think it's slipping.
Oh my God. See?
Are you kidding me? This thing works, right?
Well, yeah, it does work. It worked really well. It has a little bit of angle left in it, but all that fight for this stupid thing. The other ones are all good though. God.
No.
Okay, now it's coming really good. So we took the exhaust all the way off, kept this portion of the pipe down here because there's no necessary need to touch that. But after looking at this thing in further detail, I think the one thing that we can come to a consensus to is that this is not an original part. It looks like this was 100% custom. If you see the original part on a Honda Civic on a D16, the cat isn't welded like this. It should separate from the manifold itself. And it's crazy because I called my local parts store and it's $650 just for the manifold, which is insane because I looked online and this whole thing for $100 shipped to me tomorrow is gonna be the way to go. Even though I was thinking I could, have my friend weld this up for us, I don't think these welds would last even if you just sat here and beated it all up to death. It's pretty terrible. Even though the cat is in pretty good shape, it looked on the inside, wasn't too bad. But I think it's just best to replace this all in one part. Do it in one shot so I don't ever have to do this again. Okay guys, now it's the next day and I have the new exhaust manifold here. So I wanted to just give you guys a quick glimpse of this, but first we gotta open up this box. I swear, if they send me the wrong part, I'm gonna be very upset. Aha. It's always a good idea to put the parts side by side, see if there's any differences at all, and see if it lines up correctly. And it looks like it does. This looks really spot on. So I guess we'll see if this will stand the test of time. I'm sure it's not gonna last as long as an OEM part, but the only unfortunate thing is I forgot to take off the oxygen sensors on this. So I'm really hoping that these aren't like seized on there, because I'm gonna have to knock them loose. Maybe I could put it on the vise, but I'll just try it while it's on the ground. What I'll do next is I'll connect the top part of the manifold onto the cat itself, the fresh gaskets. It's actually really nice to have. So what I'm gonna try and do is I'm gonna use a swivel socket on these rear of the manifold because I can't get it with a straight shot. So this is what the final product will look like once I got everything put together. I'm actually gonna take this heat shield off and put it to the side, but I just wanted to confirm that it was the correct size. You know, I think I just found out what was causing the rattling this whole time on the exhaust. So this actually split this little mount right here, and I think it was rubbing up against this heat shield on this little portion of the pipe. So I think what I might just do for now is just remove this and hook up the exhaust and see if it rattles a lot, because you have to remember that there's hangers on the back too. But it would be nice to replace this, but I think it'll be for another time. I know this is gonna be a knuckle basher. I can just, yep, I can feel it. Now we're making progress. I got all this fully installed. I just need to hook up the oxygen sensors, put everything back, put the heat shield on, put the car on the ground, and we can fire it up and see how it sounds. Get this out of the way. I think I have everything connected back up. Everything is tight. The cat's on there correctly. When I go underneath, this should be good, hopefully. Let's see what we got. Ouch. Sounds really good. Oh my God, what a difference. That is awesome. And hopefully it doesn't have that exhaust rattle anymore because of this little part. Because this was rubbing up against the exhaust itself and it was making this horrible noise. I was wondering for so long what was causing it. So I'll probably go back underneath. I'll order the part and we'll replace this. That's not a big deal. But you can see just from the shaking and the vibration, it just chipped it right off. It's so quiet. All right, so I just took the car out of the garage. I'm gonna let it idle for a little bit, but I mean, wow, the difference in the noise is so much better. The nicest thing about these old Hondas is they're very straightforward and relatively easy to work on. So hooking up this exhaust didn't take too much of an effort. Some cars, it could be very difficult and very expensive to replace a manifold with the cat, but for whatever reason, they're relatively cheap. And I think that's the plus if you wanted to own one of these things. So I'll probably comb through the car a little bit more, but most importantly, I just wanted to take a moment to thank you guys for watching today's video. Now stay tuned for the next episode because I will show you guys a quick sneak peek of the wheels that I got for this car. I think you guys are gonna like this one.